Did you know that Jimmy G once dated an adult film star in 2018? Well, now you do. Let's go. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake, back with an Underdog fantasy pick'em video for NFL. We got a game in Mexico City against San Francisco 49ers playing a pretty beat up Arizona Cardinals team here. We still don't know the situation with DeAndre Hopkins or Kyler Murray yet. It's going to dictate a lot of these lines. So, again, it's really hard to make slips early, but we'll still go through a little things. I'll give you some of my favorite picks that are up on the board now. But I think things are going to change depending on that news quite heavily, depending on the game script that's going to happen. So, hey, hope you liked a little bit of useless trivia at the beginning. Try to make these a little bit of fun. And it was just one of those things I remembered quite a few years ago. But we'll dive into these things. Again, if you do not have an account over there at Underdog Fantasy, make sure you use promo code ARMY and get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Link is in the description below. Also, if this week Thanksgiving's coming up, I'm going to do a little bit of giveaway for some of our Discord members that are not subscribers, or we're going to do some for subscribers as well. So you want to get into the Discord here. Link is in the description below. Just come in, hang out with us. If you want to sign up, if you don't, if you want to sign up, we have tools for Underdog as well. We have the Plus EV tool. We'll show you that a little bit in this video. Well, and then also picks. So if you want to check everything out, again, everything's linked in the description below, and we'll see you in there. Let's get after it. All right, as you can tell, I have the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em up here, and we got NFL selected. It's really nice layout that they have here. One of my favorite features that they have is the rivals section. You can pull this up, and basically, you're just picking which player is going to get more yards. Some of them get spotted some yards. This one, there's not a whole lot up here because of all the injury consideration. So it's basically CMC and Connor. Nothing I really love with this one because I really think it's game script dependent, right? If it's one of those things where I feel like, they're going to get behind and those guys are going to be out, I kind of like CMC more than Connor, even Connor getting 17 and a half yards. But I'm going to kind of stay away from these until we see some more, until we get some injury news consideration. So if we go back over here and we look at higher and lower, again, we're just going to look at pick them here for this San Francisco and Arizona game in Mexico City. One of the nice features that they have over here, Underdog, as well, is they got this insurance function. Didn't have this last year. So if you want to miss one pick and still get paid out, you can just turn this on. Very simple to do. I think it's really important for when you're selecting these 4 and 5 man picks here. I don't tend to like to use it on 2 and 3 mans, but for these guys where we're using 4 and 5 mans, I think it's really important to do. It's just, little risk tolerance, bankroll management. It's very key. I preach that a lot in our Discord and our Patreon streets. What we have, again, if you want to check out the tools that we do have an Underdog tool for NFL and NBA right now. We're going to continue to add to this, but it kind of shows you where the Plus EV plays are on this. It's very easy to check out. If you want to check it out, again, you can get access to that in the description below. And again, going to be giving some stuff away for Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate all you guys taking the time to watch these videos and all the members that signed up with their Patreon. Truly appreciate it. So going to give a little bit back to the community this week. So let's just dive into a little bit. I think the first one I do like is just taking Jimmy G under 247 and a half. Kind of talked about this in an earlier video here, but 247 and a half. He's only cleared this number 3 times this year. I don't think it's going to be a competitive game. I don't think they're going to need to use him a ton. He should be able to do whatever he wants, but if they get up a ton, Kyle Shanahan has no problem throwing Mitchell out there and just pounding the rock. It's like they'd like to win, but they're not trying to win with style points, right? They're not trying to put up a ton of points on the ground. They have no problem just driving the clock out. I have no problem here with under 247 and a half lower. I'm sorry, for Jimmy Garoppolo. Pass touchdowns, I lean under, I lean lower. Rushing yards, I don't want to touch it. Again, it really depends on the health of these guys with Kyler Murray and Nuke, because if those guys are in, maybe things change a little bit, but if they're out, it should be a one-way kind of street here. CMC kind of thing here. Rushing yards is 64 and a half. Not sure I love that. I think he can easily do it, but he split carries quite a bit last week when it came to Mitchell. He had 14 carries Going up against Arizona, they are giving up 110 yards on the ground. But we saw a lot of carries at Elijah Mitchell last week as well. I mean, we saw more carries. He had 18 carries last week. So if it's something like that where, you know, if they get up early, I don't think they're going to just run CMC down their throats. They'll throw Mitchell out there. So I kind of lean lower than 64.5 just on game script wise. If it's more competitive game, I'm kind of just going to stay away from it. Reception wise, same kind of thing. How much are they going to use CMC if they get up a ton? You're really building these tonight. If you're building early lines, you're really going to building these entire thing based off of the game script you're going to happen. And it's truly hard to build these not knowing what's going to happen with Murray and Hopkins, because without those guys, this team is going to struggle massively. Same kind of thing here. I think he could get in the box for a touchdown, so I don't mind going higher on that one. Same kind of thing, rushing and receiving. I'd be lower on this. I just don't think that they need him this game. CMC can easily hit this if the game's competitive. Yeah, this is not the game script I'm building, though. I'm building this as this is not a competitive game. They lean a little bit more on Mitchell and some other guys, and they just don't need him to get there. Deebo Samuel, same kind of thing. Since CMC coming over, he just hasn't really needed him. They don't need him. 42 and 24 reception yards in the last 2 games. He can always go, massively over at any game. I think the reception wise is where I would look at it. He did have 7 and 5 2 games ago, but then he only put up 2 against the Chargers. Do they really need him? That's the whole case, right? That's always the case. Do they need him? Saying it, Brandon Ayuk, same kind of thing here. 4.5 receptions. He has gone over this in the last 4 games at 8, 7, 6, and 6. Yards at 58.5. He's gone over this as well in the last 4 games. 83, 82, 81, 84. Debo's the one I'm not sure that they don't want to get these guys hurt, man. They know they got a team that can make a run, I think, in the NFC for sure. And, if they get up early, that's where you're building these game scripts. I might go lower Deebo Samuel receptions here or lower yards. He can always get there, but I would lean lower if I was going to play any of these. Coming down to Kittle, not going to really touch him here. Same with Brandon Ayuk. I just don't really want to touch these guys because they could get there. James Conner, rushing yards at 49.5. As you can tell, there's not a whole lot up here to go through. And a lot of that, again, is the injury consideration. That's why we only have one Arizona guy, because until we know what's going to happen, like I said, Marquise Brown is still on injured reserve. Until we know what's going to happen to Hopkins or Murray, Ertz is out for the season as well. They're just not going to put up any lines here. So, again, it makes it really hard to make a card this early. That's why I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it, kind of say, you're really kind of stuck here. Don't really like Robbie Gould. Might as well talk about him a little bit. I think they'll just make and score touchdowns more than field goals. But he has kicked 3, 1, and 3 field goals in his last 3 games. If you think they get down there and Arizona can, stop them in the red zone, yeah, they'll easily kick field goals. So the juice is higher on the over at minus 125. The book's out there if you want to take that and look at the higher. It just depends if they're going to stall in the red zone or not for Robbie Gould. James Conner. So, yeah, this is the one that's tough because if they do, the line opened at 50.5. It's a 49.5 here. He has gone over this in 3 of his last 4 games, 55, 55, 45, and 69. Did have a ton of carries last week, 21 carries last week going up against the Rams and put up 69 yards. I don't know how this competitive is going to be. If it's not going to be competitive, again, I would lean lower on this one and higher on the reception yards. Now, he hasn't got there in reception yards. Over the last 4 games, he's only put up 22, 8, 19, and 17. So if you think they're going to be playing from behind a ton, if you think Colt McCoy is going to be their quarterback today, there might be a lot of dump offs that we see to him. He did have 5 and 3 targets in those 2 games. If he can break one, I think he could get there. So lean higher on receiving yards, lower on rushing yards, just for the fact, if you think it's going to be competitive, I would smash higher on rushing yards. I just don't think it is, and that's the concern. So as you can tell, there's not a whole lot to look for here in terms of what we have on tap for NFL. Like the rivals I don't love because I don't know. And again, they're waiting on the news just like everybody else. So that's what we're kind of looking at again. Again, the only reason I'm lower on these San Francisco guys is this is a build I would build if you do not think DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray are going to play. And if they get up heavy, again, Shanahan has no problem throwing other guys out there, and they need Debo Samuel and CMC to be healthy coming to January, going into the playoffs. So there's no reason to run those guys. It just depends on what you feel like Murray and Hopkins are going to do, and that's how you got to build your slip. So that's what we're kind of looking at. Again, if you want to check us out over in our Discord, link in the description below. And again, if you don't have an account, use that code ARMY and get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. And like always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Doses.